Welcome to another edition of In the Winner's Circle, sponsored by the HBBA of Ontario. Renee Cairns along with Jennifer Morrison. Lots of material to cover on this edition, and as per usual, we will begin with your top 5 from last weekend from our 3 days of racing. What do you got?
Well, because we had some problems technical last week with a podcast, so we apologize for that, I thought I'd just give us some highlights from last weekend. How about jockey Todd Cable? You know, he's a multiple champion. Yeah, and he's a multiple champion jockey. He's sort of making a comeback of sorts. He won 3 races on Sunday, and he won a race on Friday with a horse by the name of Candles on Friday.
For John Martini.
And paid $100 to win on a Todd Cable horse. You wouldn't get that too many times. How about the Lady Angela Stakes? That was on Saturday. We didn't get to talk about that last week because we didn't have a podcast, but the Ontario Sired filly race went to I'm a Kitty Hawk for Franz Crean, who trains for the Earls. They've been in the business a long time. It was a really special win. I know they've said that I'm a Kitty Hawk is not going to the Oaks, but I'm sure we'll see her in some stakes events down the road.
Oaks is next weekend.
That's right. The Connaught Cup, 7 furlongs on the turf. And for the second straight year, Something Extra won again. He ran a 95 Beyer figure. Looked like the whole field was going to pass him turning for home. He's dug in and kept on going.
He's tough.
Yeah, he's a tough horse, owned by Gail Cox and John Minari, so fun to watch him. We had more stakes action on turf. This was Saturday, the Nassau Stakes. Solid Appeal, who is an up-and-comer for Jim and Susan Hill, trained by Reed Baker, ridden by Jessie Campbell. She posted a mild upset. She was 9-1. I actually thought she'd be a little bit lower in odds there, but she's one to watch in the upcoming stakes as well. And I think the most impressive and most interesting race of the weekend was the 3-year-olds, because this is our Kentucky Derby, Queen's Plate time. The Birds, up with the Birds, ran a 90 Beyer, won the Marine Stakes very easily.
Yeah, for fun.
You're looking at the big favorite for the Queen's Plate. Now, I know we have the plate trial coming up next weekend, so that should give us some more contenders. But, boy, up with the Birds, Samson Farms, a Stormy Atlantic colt. It's pretty good.
Samson Farms is having a huge season. Malcolm Pierce had a lot of those horses down at the fairgrounds. And boy, they are just rocking and rolling since being back here at Woodbine. Fort Erie had their opening day last Sunday. I think there were about 80 horses in the entries. It was good. They bet well. So they go again this Sunday. It looks like the entries are full once again, but they'll also be starting with Tuesday. So for the next few weeks, it'll be Sunday, Tuesday.
That's right. Two racing days. I actually picked out a little horse to start your pick 4 on Sunday. Just to talk about Fort Erie. I thought the reception was great. The crowd was good. I saw a lot of photos and videos. Sunday, though, I thought you could kick off your pick 4 with a sure winner. Ooh, I hate to say
Here
that.
we go.
But how about a really good chance for a key horse?
How about a possibly maybe?
Possibly maybe. How about Jolson in the 4th race?
Okay.
Sunday at Fort Erie. 3rd start off the layoff. He likes Fort Erie. He's taking a drop. I think you might be able to get 2-1, 5-2 on him. Let's key Jolson in the first leg of the pick 4, race 4 on Sunday at Fort Erie.
So they'll be going Sunday, Tuesday down at the Fort. So they pick up an extra day, but so too does Woodbine, because starting next Wednesday, we have night racing here. And the entries for next Wednesday, a little bit of a change this season. The entries will actually be taken tomorrow, which is Friday. You'll be seeing this on Friday, which is today.
That's right.
Got it?
Yeah, we're in Friday already.
Friday entries for Wednesday.
That's right. And they'll be, I guess the entries will be available to look at on the weekend. I'm not really sure what happens as far as, past performance generation, but I'm sure they'll be available as soon as possible. And, we'll be back to night racing on Wednesday.
Back to 4 days a week, and that's what it's going to be for the entire
rest of the
season.
year, yes.
4 days. Thursday was always sort of a humdrum type of card.
Yeah.
But we go way till the middle of December, so lots of racing to come and go. Friday's program includes 9 races, full field. Jeez, we kind of started off maybe a little bit slow, but there are almost 100 horses in the entries, and a brand new condition that the race office has come up with in order to boost the size field of some of these races. Is last year they started with 40 non-winners of 2 and non-3, putting them together this year, 40 non-2, non-3, but also adding Ontario sired horses, multiple winners, doesn't matter what kind of races they've won, what they've won, they are eligible to go in this condition in for the claiming tag of 40. I think it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, it's a super idea. I know a lot of people were buzzing about it a couple weekends ago, and, it gives the Ontario sired horses who have won through their conditions, several chances, to compete at levels where they can be,
Competitive.
factors. Yeah, exactly. So, and this race, is a really good field. It's scheduled for grass. Don't know if we're going to be on the turf for the Friday and Saturday races.
We had a ton of rain.
A lot of rain during the week.
During the week.
Not as much as the Don Valley Parkway, but
yeah.
A lot of rain.
They said little cars were getting lost in there, and they finally had to close it. But
that's right. But they got a great field, like a really competitive field. I thought there was a lot of speed horses in the race. There's some horses in there that love the turf or handle both turf and poly.
Yeah.
You'll have to see what the scratches are like. I know that you liked a couple of horses. I believe I picked Salvatore G as my long shot in the Toronto Star. Now, I quite like him for the grass. And I just don't know about him on the poly track. I'm looking for a horse, though, that's coming from a little bit off the pace. If that's going to be a horse like Can't Catch Winston, 10 Lakes and Tom Joy, I think, are the two logical ones in there. Both tend to be speed horses, though.
Tom Joy, I think he might be able to sit right in behind the speed a little bit. The thing, if it does go on the grass, it's out in lane number 4. And generally, sort of the further out you are, the more speed tends to carry for some reason.
Yeah, well, that tends to be the case, yes. I mean, horses that are coming from off the pace have too much to do, too much, And further out in the turf course as well, it gets softer. So horses that are inside posts and inside lanes turning for home are the ones that are doing well.
Probably have an advantage. So I think this is a really interesting condition. This is the first time it's going to be in the entries. 49 winners of 2 or 3 and Ontario side horses that have won as many races as possible. It just gives them a chance to run against restricted company, still restricted company. This is somewhat easier than a lot easier than a wide open 40.
Exactly. It gives them a much better chance to be competitive. And you know what? One thing I want to say about Friday racing, the last 2 Fridays, and I used to call it Freaky Friday all the time. Freaky Fridays is because that's when these bombs come in. We've had $100 winners every Friday. I mean, you just got to go for the gusto. Don't bet favorites. I mean, there's lots of opportunities. The fields are big. Just get in there, have an open mind, and pick a couple of long shots.
I think 10 Lakes is probably going to take a lot of money, and I would tend to maybe go elsewhere just because the horse hasn't run now in almost a year.
And he's a speed horse.
Passing Flasher. I don't know what sort of opportunity Passing Flasher has, but he could get in the way of a horse like 10 Lakes because both of them have a fair amount of speed. Mr. Monty,
Mr. Chartbuster, there's a lot of speed before scratches, though.
Yeah, and again, where this race ends up being run, we don't know yet. Again, a lot of rain, torrential rains actually this past week, so the turf course might still be a little bit on the soggy side. Saturday comes around, and there are 10 races on the docket with about 106 horses entered. So and of course in the pick 4, the 5th race has 14 horses in it, and it's a 25 Ontario sired maiden. So
you gotta have your thinking caps
you might want to throw
really
in a few
pay
there.
attention.
But the main race on the program is the Grade 3 Hendry 38th Renewal, 6.5 furlongs, and looking to get that whimsical Hendry double, as a few other horses have gotten, is Acting Naughty. How many horses have gotten that double in the past?
Well, since 2001, there's been 4 horses that have won the whimsical, and then a few weeks later have come back to win the Hendry. That's Roxy Gap last year, My List in 2008, Nashinda in 2005, and Mysterious Affair in 2001. So Acting Naughty is going for the little older mare sprint double here. She won that whimsical stakes, very well prepared. She's a very consistently good filly.
Yeah.
But remember how that race went. There was a 3-horse speed duel, including a shipper from California, Josie Carrolls, who's not in this race, and she wore down the speed. Now, there is, my man stuff is still in the race, and there's another speed horse by the name of Little River. But I don't think this race is going to go the same, and I think there's at least one horse that's a very tough competitor in there, and she hasn't run in a year. Delightful Mary. Champion 2-year-old filly.
2-year-old filly.
Yeah, and she is a really good sprinter. And Mark Casse was telling people, 2 months ago that he couldn't wait to run her again. She's had a lot of workouts. He's been paying a lot of attention to her preparation. She is going to probably take a lot of money, even if she hasn't run in a year. But I think this filly is, she's definitely the real deal. She's got a tremendous back class.
And running fresh is not an issue for her. If you look at her race November 2011, fresh. Then she came back in January 2012 at Gulfstream, taking the Ocala. She ran fresh off the
She
shelf.
wins every time off
yep.
of a lengthy layoff, so she has no trouble with that. I just think that Acting Naughty, there's 4 horses in the Whimsical that are back in the Hendry. I think the way that race set up last time, it's not going to be the same way. You know, Starship Universe ran a really, almost a big upset race, but again, she came from off the pace, the hot pace, and rallied. I don't think you're going to see that this time, and I think Delightful Mary is probably just better than all of them.
She should be.
Yeah.
She should be better than all of them, and if Mark is excited, I mean, he sees this filly day in, day out, then that's probably a license for everybody else to get excited. So probably going to see somewhat of a different scenario, a different opening quarter in the Hendry than we saw in the Whimsical, which played perfectly into the hands of a horse like Acting Naughty, who is an overachiever. She tries very hard, and that was the first official stake win for trainer Donnie McRae. Tyler Pizarro is going to ride her back. I was a little disappointed with Man Stuff that day. But again, she got caught up in that speed duel as well.
She was absolutely burned out in the duel. And she actually didn't, I watched her gallop out, she finished okay. And, you know, like I said, you know, she's probably going to be on the lead again at 6.5 furlongs. I'm still not convinced that she's of this ilk yet, so I'm sticking with Delightful Mary.
I don't know what the odds are because I printed the PPs before the odds came out, but I think Katie Get Excited is going to be a price. And she would be my long shot play in that race. She got very close to Acting Naughty, and I think she can put herself in a contentious position. She's been in some pretty tough races, didn't get beat all that far to Dixie Strike last season. So that is going to be my long shot play. Katie Get Excited in the Hendry. That is on Saturday. Sunday has some stake action as well. A bit of a small field for the Vigil, going 7/8. Burnham, City Wolf, Essence Hitman, Laugh Track. You talked about Essence Hitman probably being 1 to 10 if that is a possibility, and I have to agree with you.
Race 3, you know, pretty disappointing. 4 horses in a graded stakes race. The Vigil, 7 furlongs, and Burnham, it was actually scheduled to run on Saturday, so they managed to get him in there to make it a 4-horse field. So, you know, Essence Hitman against City Wolf, Burnham, and Laugh Track, so he'll just lead all the way, I would think, at 1 to 10. But we picked a different race to handicap.
Yeah, we're going to go with the 8th race, and that is no one is of one other than for the girls. It's a small field. There's 6 horses in there, but I think it's a good one. Logan's Peak, she's looking to get back to winning form, and from the outside, we have, I know we talked about Malcolm Pierce, we have a Malcolm Pierce horse known as Tonight We Dance.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were hoping for the Woodbine Oaks with this filly, and she's just had a little bit of bad luck. She won her maiden going 2 turns on the dirt at Fairgrounds. Then she ran in a race on very soft turf and just drowned there. Came back to Woodbine and prepped in a sprint race, but the speed just ran away from her. This is a long, leggy, you know, galloping type of filly who's probably going to be better on the grass at some point because her mother, Vaganova, was a turf horse. But I think that this race is probably going to set up fairly nicely for her. Not a ton of speed, so I think she'll just track in 3rd or 4th and give her just her galloping time and get up to win. And I'm thinking that she's going to pay $8 to $12.
What about T Super? Opinion on T Super? That's the Ashley Barness horse. She took absolutely no time getting through her Ontario sire conditions.
Yeah, I mean, she's a really nice filly. I like her. And now, I don't like off-the-pace horses in route races off a winter layoff. So I usually look at those horses as horses I'll put in my exactor, try, superfecta, whatever. I don't think a horse like that is going to get up and win, but she's she's one to certainly tab for next time.
What's the reasoning for that?
I just think that horses that come from off the pace, they're closers. First of all, they need the race to set up for them the right way anyways. And when they come off a layoff, it's easier for a speed horse to get prepared. A horse that comes from off the pace, get them ready to, put in their stretch bids and all that. Time and again, I see the off the pace, long distance horses always needing a race.
Needing a race under their belt before they can run their best. So
yes.
That is, we've got a 10 race program on Sunday, the on-track feature, the Vigil Stakes. Does it belong to Essence Hitman? He's 125 pounds to the other 3 that carry 116. I think he is that good, and it's a great distance for him. We've got race number 6, which is a maiden special with some promising individuals. Downtown draws the inside again. This is a horse that has had some issues breaking from that inside post. Isn't that always the way it goes? Remember that horse of Bob Tiller's a couple of years ago? Made a left-hand turn, drew the inside again.
I keep drawing the rail, yes, I know. So they're probably not pleased. The Stronach horse, Downtown, who is a nice Canadian-bred prospect and has plenty of ability, but boy, from the rail again, you're going to have to hang on.
Well, Emma's going to have to hang on.
She's going to have to hang on.
We're just going to have to hang on to the binoculars and watch the whole thing. And that one is sent out by Reed Baker, and he is the subject of this week's 5 things that you don't know about Reed
Aha.
Baker. I don't think everybody knows that he started off as an agent here, was an agent for a long time for Gary Staubbaum. They had a lot of success together.
That's right. I think Reed's done a lot of different jobs. He's worn many hats. And he wears a hat.
And he wears a hat. He's still wearing a hat. Reed had the pleasure of riding 2-time Grand National winner Al Daniti through the English countryside. He had won it in a draw, I think it was. He had won that opportunity
that's right,
in a draw.
Yeah. And rode the horse through the countryside, just plugging along.
Just not everybody gets to do that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. First stake winner was a horse called a Greater Magic. That was at the now closed Detroit Racecourse.
Ladbrokes DRC.
DRC. He is the breeder of champion birds, chickens of all varieties, down at the Royal Ontario Agricultural Fair.
And he had a couple just hatched at
Royal
his
Winter Fair.
house. Hatched
Oh,
his house.
really?
Yeah, he had some in an incubator, so they were born a couple weeks ago. They're very cute.
They're very cute and fuzzy.
Chicks.
And they'll be getting ready for the Royal Winter Fair this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be ready for racing anytime soon.
And he is a Belvedere or a Grey Goose type of man when he's in the mood
Goose,
for...
chickens, sort of all foul.
It all... That is foul. It is all part and parcel of the 5 things that perhaps you didn't know about Reed Baker. But the combination of Reed Baker and Gary Staubbaum as agent jockey was a very successful one back in the day, back in the 70s,
yeah.
80s.
That's right.
And then he turned to training.
Yep, that's right.
So a man of many, many hats, and he is sending out a horse by the name of Downtown going on Sunday, and also had that nice stake win in the Nassau with
Solid
a name
Appeal.
that we will not forget.
That's right.
And that
Solid
is
Appeal.
Solid Appeal. So we've got Fort Erie Racing on Sunday. They're going to be going Sunday, Tuesday. We start racing here at Woodbine on Wednesday, so we are back to our scheduled 4 days a week from now until the end of the season. Things change a little bit when we have a holiday Monday, I think it is, don't
Yes,
they?
I think we just stayed to 4 days. I think the Wednesdays are canceled.
Yeah, but for the most part, we've got 4 days of racing. Wednesday racing, which is always a nice draw. People coming in after work, having a nice dinner in the
That's
turf
right.
club, in the dining room. So Wednesday racing does begin next week. So a wrap up on this week's edition of In the Winner's Circle. We had no fruit, but we brought back,
The flowers.
by popular demand, the flowers. Renee Kierans, Jennifer Morrison. This edition, once again, sponsored by the HPBA of Ontario. And hopefully some info that we gave you will help you find your way to the winner's circle. Good luck.